Hey guys, Wander Outdoors here, and today in this video, spring is right around the corner, so I'm going over my top 3 lures for the spring. Let's get right into it. Alright, so number 1 on the list is a swim bait. Now I just have a Keitech Swim Impact 4.8 on here in the electric shad color. So this is mainly what I'll be throwing on a Z-Man head. You guys can see that. This is probably what I'll mainly be throwing this spring, so that's why this is number 1. I was going to grab other swim baits to put on this head, but I realized that this will probably be the only swim bait that I'll throw, because this is my favorite. I really like Keitech swim baits, and this electric shad color has caught a lot of fish for me last year, so I want to try it again coming up here this spring. So where I'll be throwing this lure is probably mainly around laydowns, stuff like that, you know, maybe a rock or a branch that comes into the water, any kind of structure that I can throw around, you know, the fish might be sitting on. So yeah, I'm super excited to use this. I used this, I think it was May or June of last year, and I had some great days with it. So yeah, really excited about that. And now, like I said before, I have this Keitech rigged up on a Z-Man swim bait head right there. You can see 3/8 ounce swim bait head. So yeah, this is just a great combination. I really like the color. It's translucent, so obviously you're mimicking a shad or any kind of other bait fish with this bait. So there you go. There you guys have it. There is number 1, the swim bait. Let's move on to number 2. We have a crankbait. Now, this is a Berkley Dredger 14.5 in the Irish gold color. You guys can see that. So I'll probably mainly be throwing this if I'm throwing a crankbait. I know my dad likes to throw square bills. I'm not the biggest fan of a square bill. I like to throw these, get a little bit deeper, really dig into the rocks when I'm reeling in. And this, I can achieve that, especially with this Berkley Dredge. You guys can see that I've used this thing a bunch, as you can see from the scratches there. And this thing's just been used, but it catches fish. I mean, I've caught so many fish on a Berkley Dredger, I can't even count it anymore. So yeah, I'll probably be mainly throwing it in this color, just because this color has worked wonders for me in the past. And if I'm throwing a square bill, I might stick kind of with the same color, or I might try like a crawdad color. But like I said, I'll probably mainly be throwing this over a square bill. Just personal preference. The same thing as the swim bait, I'll be throwing this at laydowns, rocks, any kind of branch that falls in the water, any kind of structure that I can bump this against and get a reaction strike from. So, might change up the speeds a little bit, might go steady at one point, might go fast. I don't know, we'll see once we get out there on the water. I haven't been out there yet, so I don't know what it's like yet, but once I get out in the water, I'll be able to tell what the fish are wanting, and I'll be able to mimic that. So there you go. There's number 2, the crankbait. Now, last but not least, we have the jig. Everybody knows the jig. You figured it was going to be in this video. I mean, I got a flipping head here, but I'll also be throwing a football head. There you go. And I will also be throwing probably a lot as a swim jig. Now this kind of matches the swim bait a little bit, how you're mimicking a bait fish or other things like that. So like this flipping jig right here, you guys can see the color there. Nice looking color, handmade, made it myself. I really like the way that turned out. So this I'll be flipping, you know, at laydowns again, other stuff like that. Any place that you would put a flipping jig, that's where I put it. Now something like the football head, I'll be throwing on offshore probably, at road beds, humps, stuff like that, with a bunch of rocks. I try and drag it along the rocks, try and get a strike. You guys can see that I have used this jig before. You can see how beat up it is. So now if you guys have followed me for a little bit, you probably know that I make my own jigs. Especially if you follow me on Instagram, I've posted a lot about it. But almost every jig that you see that I'm using is handmade by me. And coming up here in the next couple months, I got some exciting news, but it's a surprise for now. I'm not going to reveal it yet. So like this swim jig, this is handmade, which I really like making my own jigs. If you guys don't do it, I recommend it because it's a perfect way to kind of match the hatch a little bit. I was able to put some silver in this to match up with the swim bait I got on there. Now I got kind of like an off color. I got a bright green on there, but you can always put, you know, the Keitech on there. That matches up pretty well to the jig, as you guys can see. So this swim jig, I'll be using kind of the same terrain that I'll be using a swim bait and a crankbait around laydowns and stuff that I can swim it past, and especially structure that the fish will be sitting on. Now, like I said before, the flipping jig, get another color here. Flipping jigs, I'll probably throw around, you know, laydowns again, rocks, other branches. I'll try and get up under the branches. So if there's like a branch here, I'll try and get up under there, get into the shady spots, get up all the way in there, the shallow waters I can get when I'm flipping along the bank. So if you guys know anything about jigs, you'll know that football heads are used for offshore fishing most of the time. You can throw it in shallow, but it's mainly for offshore deep water fishing, laydowns, you know, rock piles, road beds, humps, points, anything offshore you can throw a jig at. And yeah, the football jig, I can't tell you how many bass I've caught on a football jig and on this color, a crawdad color. It just looks so natural, as you guys can see. Alright guys, so that is number 3, the jig. So I just want to do a quick rundown again. Number 1, swim bait. Keitech swim bait, 4.8 inches, 3/8 ounce head on there. It's probably what I'll be throwing most of the time, is this swim bait. Second up was a crankbait, 14.5 Berkley Dredger, Irish gold color. Be throwing at a rock, stuff like that. And I may switch to a square bill, but I'll mainly be throwing this. And number 3, as you guys know, was the jig. Of course I had to have the jig on here. The jig is the classic bait. You can't really have any list of lures that you plan on using without having a jig in it. It's kind of just a given. Now I don't have these baits out here, but I also plan on using a buzz bait. I saw a thing in a Bassmaster magazine about Drew Cook using a buzz bait, so I want to try out that a little bit. So buzz bait. I'll probably also be trying a glide bait. I know a lot of people have been throwing a glide bait, so I got to get on the trend. So glide bait, and yeah, those are just some extra lures that I might be throwing, but I don't have any on me right now. I don't have any. I'm out at the boat in the shelter, so I'm sorry if you guys hear some noise. It's probably the shelter moving around a little bit. You can see it's blowing back here. It's a little windy outside, and there's also a bunch of traffic. So if you guys hear any background noise, I'm sorry. But so there you go. There you have it. You got the swim bait, crankbait, jig, honorable mentions. You got the buzz bait, glide bait. That's about it. That's 5. But the top 3 you guys saw. So alright guys, that about wraps up the video. So if you enjoyed it, you can check out my other fishing related videos. I'll put them on the screen. And if you liked it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.